Good evening. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. It is a little bit different of a Friday LFC Focus podcast. This is pre-recorded because unfortunately I am having to work. So if you are watching this for the first time, then please hit that subscribe button and like the video as well. But I've got a lovely panel this evening. It is Mr. Jagmac LFC. How are you doing, Jack?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you very much. And it's lovely to meet everyone on tonight's panel. And can't wait to get stuck into tonight's show. Cheers.
From who's that behind the stat, we have Stephen Stubbs. How are you doing, Stephen?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. And it's great to get you on as well. It is great to get you on. We have the Welshman, Mr. Connor Niblett. How are you doing, Connor?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, mate. I'm looking really forward to tonight's show.
Excellent.
I'm sorry.
And as you can hear, Albie's barking. We have the lovely Sophie. How are you doing, Sophie?
I'm fine. It's nice to see you. Just give me a minute.
And last but not least, you will see me probably on the first 11, grounded Liverpool. It is Mr. Steve Plunk. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me on. It's the first time on your channel, so good to be here. And I've seen some of these faces before, but not all. So those of you I haven't met before, pleased to meet you. And I echo the sentiments earlier on. Let's get stuck into this.
Absolutely. And yes, we will get stuck into it because I do have a lot to talk about. Actually, that's the first thing. Yes, so if anyone has seen the rumours about Jeremy Doku, the rumours are intensifying, presumably. And it looks like 1 in, 1 out. Jack, are you potentially happy with Jeremy Doku?
Given his goal output, I know he's still a young player. First to see him was in the Euros, those 2 appearances. He's quite quick, isn't he? Very, very quick it's a lot of money if the rumoured fee is to be agreed, 35 million. We've eventually, which we'll discuss a bit later tonight in the show, squad depth and similar players of that ilk in terms of what he would offer to Liverpool. It'd offer a lot of abundance of pace, and there's one manager in world football that can nurture the best young talent in world football. It's that man, Jurgen Klopp, mate. But yeah, if we did sign him, Jurgen Klopp, he's turned this whole squad into world-class players. He doesn't buy superstars, usually. Obviously, the 2 exceptions, really, but he moulds them into the world's best. He can't just throw 60, 70 million pound at players every single season. But very promising.
100 million.
Yeah, very promising player, mate. I don't know if it's paper talk, but if he did come, it'd come with all our praise, mate, and fully back Jurgen in the transfer market.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Stubbs, I think you have to say that this is a deal to be based upon the fact that the African Cup of Nations is in January, and obviously we'll be missing Salah and Mane and Keita as well. Would this be a good move for Liverpool?
Yeah, I do think so. I think he's got a pace and abundance, hasn't he? Like Jack just touched upon there, and again what Jack said there about Klopp, he doesn't buy world-class stars, he turns them into world-class stars. So he'd be another good signing. He's a bit like Sadio Mane type of player. And if you can just work on the attributes of trying to get a few more goals, then I think it'll be a decent buy. So, yeah, if Klopp wants him, then I'll back him 100%. It's not like he's just thought, oh, well, I'll go out and get someone. He's obviously done his research. He's done a couple of years' research, more than likely. But no, I'd be very happy if we managed to get that one over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember having a chat with you, Connor, and we were both saying he is very, very rapid. This was the Italy game that we were both watching, and we both said to each other, he is rapid. So would this be a very good move for the Reds?
I think so. Yes, it is a bit pricey. At 40 million euros, I think has been the reported price, I think, yesterday. But the thing is, Liverpool are going to need a rebuild over the next 2 years with their signing contracts now and beginning the rebuild. It's the fact that he's already been scouted for Liverpool because he was close to joining us in 2018, I believe it was, or 2017, turned us down to go and learn football and obviously then hopefully join a bigger club in Liverpool. And it's the sense of where, like you said, Doug, and like the rest have said so far, his pace is the best quality about him. If he can, get his finishing up there, he will be the same as Salah, Mane, and who's, as Jack alluded to earlier, who's the best person to do that is Jurgen Klopp. So I think it works out because it is pricey, but wages won't be a problem. They would be on the cheap end, you would expect. And the other thing as well, he wouldn't take a foreign position in the team because we can register him as an under 21 player. So that as well is an added bonus in my opinion. And if Liverpool are listening, please do it because he is such a good talent. He's so good. I
think Connor's on his knees to Fabrizio Romano. Please, can we have some news? Please, can we have some news?
That was my tweet yesterday.
I saw that. Sophie, would this move make sense rather than like a Jared Bowen, for example?
I'm going to hold my hands up and just say I don't really know much about Doku. Like, it's not a league I watch, so the only thing I hear about them is when we make links to them, and then I go and have a look at them. And from what the panel have said and what's obviously been said about him and seen him, he is very quick. He is very young. And as the lads have, they've hit the nail on the head with it, really, and said there's no better place for him to be learning from than at Liverpool right now. We have got the best strikers, the best wingers in the league. We've got the best players who understand how to play Jurgen's style of football very well. And I think it was you, Jack, who just said, like, no better manager than Jurgen Klopp. But for me, it's no better team to be in to develop yourself as a winger than Liverpool's squad in the Premier League. The most intense league possible in the world. And then you've got the Virgils, you've got the Trents, you've got the Hendersons, you've got the Thiagos, who have all played in different leagues, all play international football, and have all got experiences beyond the Premier League as well, which is obviously going to go into good stead with him. He is 19, very, very quick player, but the finishing and the clinical ability will come if we sign him, because he's going to be around Mo and Bobby and Jota and Mane, and Harvey Elliott. He's going to be developing with Harvey Elliott as well because of the similar age. So for me, it makes sense. And I don't think Liverpool would just sign anybody on a whim because there's always going to be research and things backed up. And as you said, if we've been linked to him before, then obviously there was something we saw in him then that we still probably see in him now. So if we sign him, then I completely back the signing. And if we don't sign him, there's a reason for it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, I was actually watching back our Grounded Liverpool, and actually someone in the comments on that night actually said Jeremy Doku would be a really, really good signing. Would you agree with that?
I think the potential's there, absolutely. And you don't know what you're going to get with these young guys because he is raw. It's all about pace at the moment. I've seen a little bit of a show reel of his goals, and he knows how to finish to some degree. I think my concern would be if we're going to shell out £40 million, is that the right place to spend £40 million? Because we've just lost a pivotal part of our midfield, and we know that we've had issues in 2 or 3 years now, trusting Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain's fitness to play in the centre of the park. We also don't know how Jordan Henderson's rehabilitated. That was a very serious injury he had. So will that limit his game time? So for me, I think if you ask me right now, do you want to spend £40 million on Doku or do you want to spend £40 million on Saul Niguez for what the team needs? I'd probably look more towards Saul Niguez because I think the balance in the midfield is more important than a guy that's going to be, because when he came on for Belgium, he played on the left-hand side. So we've already got Mane there, and I see Jota as Mane's number one rival in terms of taking a place at the club. I don't think Jota can play in the centre because it's a very different game with players coming from behind you to take the ball off you. So if I'm being honest, a bit of devil's advocate and kind of going a little bit against what the guys have said, and that's fine. They are right in what they say. I think the balance of the squad probably means I would spend the money on Saul Niguez than I would him. He's so young, €40 million is an awful lot of money when there isn't €40 million around just to throw at anybody.
Yeah. I absolutely agree, and I think everyone's made a very, very good point as well about Klopp being the best manager to nurture him as well. So that's one potential in, but it looks like there is one potential out. Xherdan Shaqiri looks like he is away to Lyon. When I look at this deal, Connor, do you think we're missing a trick to not try and get Houssam Aouar?
I wouldn't say so. I think, of course, the bridges were burnt down a little bit with Nabil Fekir. And I'm so sorry to bring up Nabil Fekir for everyone. But the rumored price tag as well that's been said. I remember I was watching Redmen today, and Neil Jones was saying that Lyon had offered €4 million for Shaqiri, which for me is shocking. Quite honestly, I think, especially coming off of Euros where he was so impactful for Switzerland, like he always is, but he just showed, what he could offer towards a football club. And we all know that Liverpool have wanted to try and get the money back that we spent on him from Stoke, which I think is quite reasonable. Even if it was 10 million, I would still say that's quite reasonable. I think he has a year left with an option to extend, so practically 2. But yeah, I just think Lyon are massively off the valuation for Liverpool, and unless that change, I don't think Shaqiri will be leaving, unless of course Lazio or someone else comes in. But if he was to leave, look, he's done fantastic for the club. He sacked Jose Mourinho from Manchester United. That's the best anyone could do for a Liverpool player. And
you could argue he sacked Marco Silva, Everton manager, as well.
Yeah,
unlucky. Jack. I mean, how much would you value Shaqiri right now?
It's difficult, mate, isn't it? A fully fit Shaqiri, and given how open he was a couple of weeks ago to Lazio, I think the rest of the clubs around Europe, their sporting directors are going, he's wanting to leave, so we got a bit of wiggle room, really, in terms of negotiating. 29 years old, come off the back of a great Euros, or he always has a good international group when he goes to Switzerland anyway, any tournament he goes to. It's interesting. There's a lot of outcomes. He could stay at Liverpool. I don't think that will happen, but if he was to stay and he stayed fully fit, he's got a lot of qualities that he can add to Liverpool's squad. It's difficult. There is a club out there that would be willing, because we're not selling a Harry Wilson. Don't get me wrong, Harry Wilson was a decent player, but Shaqiri is a level above him, really. I know Harry Wilson was a lot younger than him, but the vast experience he would offer, and if he went to Ligue 1, I think he'd very much destroy the league, because I don't really rate the French league that much. But yeah, it will be a waiting game, I think, with Edwards and Liverpool. We've already spoken about players potentially coming in, midfielders, but there will be a club that will come in for Shaqiri's, because he's a very decent player. I've seen a lot more worse players at Liverpool Football Club over recent times, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's at least he hasn't been as bad as Philip Degan. And I'm sorry to bring this up. If Connor brings up Nabil Fekir, I have to bring up Philip Degan. What on earth were we thinking of signing him back in?
Or Jovanovic, remember him?
Oh, Jesus Christ, no!
Under Roy. His highlight was missing the ball in the middle of Anfield, just jumping on, sort of flat bang on his chest.
Oh dear, yeah, oh Jesus, yeah. Let's go away from 2010s. We're looking into now. Sophie, do you think we have a ready-made replacement in Harvey Elliott for Shaqiri? Do you think?
Yes and no. I think Harvey Elliott, positionally wise, yes, Harvey Elliott is that player that will fit that role. He played a midfield role on Sunday, and he was absolutely phenomenal to watch. Like, watching him in person, just nothing compares. He's unbelievably good. He's a monster. However, I don't think he's the Shaqiri replacement. I think he's got his own role to play in the team, and it's not to replace Shaqiri. I think with the rumours that have been going around, I didn't see 4 million. I saw 8 million for Shaqiri. And for me, considering that Liverpool have rejected offers upward about 10 million for Shaqiri over the past year or so, the fact that they're even entertaining 8 million to even let it get to this stage of a rumour, for me, seemed that there's somebody else lined up.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to let Shaqiri go all of a sudden for 4 or 5 million less than what you were valuing him at, 5-6 months ago, you've got somebody lined up, and you need that space in that squad. That you've already got the money for that player. You've already got things in motion. You just need that space because you want to register this player. So you'll let him go because Shaqiri has rightfully said to the team he wants to go. He knows he's not going to develop any further at Liverpool. He's reached his ceiling. He can't do anything here. He can't break into the team. He's not what we need. He needs to go. That's what it says to me. But I don't think that Harvey Elliott is that replacement. I think Harvey Elliott is probably going to be the Genie. Take Genie's side.
Yeah.
Not for Genie's role. He's just going to take Genie's place. I don't think he can replace Genie. However, I don't think he'll be replacing Shaqiri, but I do think if they're going to sell him like that for that little, there's somebody else in the pipeline, and I'm hoping that it's Newhouse. I'm hoping. I'm trying. I'd love it, but I don't think it will be.
Well, I'll have mixed feelings because obviously my German team are Borussia Mönchengladbach, so I'd have mixed feelings about Neuhaus heading. But obviously there are a couple of names that have been linked with the midfield role. Stephen Stubbs, do you think with Shaqiri going, who do you think's coming in?
It's a difficult one to say. Obviously, Doku seems the obvious choice, but it'd be interesting to see, but I think Doku is obviously the obvious choice. I agree with Sophie though. I don't think Harvey Elliott's the Shaqiri replacement. I think in a few years down the line, I would see Harvey Elliott as the number 10, just behind the strikers. I think that role, the way he played on Sunday was like Sophie said, he was phenomenal. And for 18 years of age, I think a couple more years time, I think he'll be playing behind the strikers. I think that's going to be his role. But obviously, if Shaqiri's going, I do hope we get a decent amount. Otherwise, I'd obviously keep him, because for 4, 5, 6 million, he's worth a lot more than that. He's had a great Euros, like everyone said. He's had a good Euros for Switzerland, and I just think he's worth at least 8 to 10 million at the very least. And if we can't get that, I would rather keep him than sell him.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, would you prefer Shaqiri to go to Italy or France? Which is a better league for him?
He's played in Italy before, and that seems to be his preference. Italy's potentially a little bit slower than it is in France, certainly in terms of build-up play. Just on the transfer fee, I think the 4 rising to 8 with add-ons is the fee that's been quoted. If he goes for 4 rising to 8, and he's on 80 grand a week, and he stays for another 2 seasons, and we have 2 successful seasons, his salary will almost double because of our incentive, our bonus-related pay. You could be paying a guy 15 to 20 million pounds in terms of across 2 years for a salary for a guy that doesn't want to be at your football club. So suddenly 4 rising to 8 becomes appealing because you've got that off the wage bill. I personally don't think anyone's coming in to replace him. I think what we'll see now between now and the end of the window is outgoings, not someone coming in. I just think that they're being very, very cagey with their money. There's this talk of the next summer being the one where we start to really look at the rebuild, because obviously Bobby, Salah and Mane will all be 31, so will Henderson, so will Thiago. That is the time to look at it. But going back to the question, I think Italian football would suit him better. He's prostituted himself at Lazio big time last week, didn't he? So, but the thing is that they need to shift. There's going to be a bit of a merry-go-round. If Luis Alberto leaves there, because Atletico Madrid were looking at him as well as Rodrigo de Paul, then there's a potential that's a ready-made fit to go in and replace Luis Alberto. And we'd get £6 million if they sold him as well, because of the buy-on clause we've got for Alberto. So there's a little bit of a domino effect that could happen with these transfers. But I think Italy would suit him better. I think by the weekend he'll be a Lyon player, though, with that deal that is 4 rising to 8, and it's more about getting his wages off the books right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just very, very quickly, I know. Obviously, we're going a little bit off topic, but obviously, Southampton have just sold Yannick Vestergaard to Leicester City. Connor, do you expect Southampton to potentially come in for Nat Phillips?
I think it's already been suggested, hasn't it, that they're coming in for him. I think they've already inquired about 12 million for him, which I would take it for him. And look, I'm happy for Nat wherever he chooses. Come in last year in a broken Liverpool defense, and was practically Maldini, but playing for Liverpool. But look, he deserves first team football, and I hope he does get it next season. And I hope he gets to prove everyone. And I can't wait as well if he does go to Southampton for United to play Southampton, and then watch Varane just look at a proper defender in Nat Phillips.
Yes. I think Sophie is looking forward to seeing how Varane does. But it has to be said, Sophie, Nat Phillips came in at a time last season where we were really desperate for centre backs, and my goodness me, he did not put a foot wrong.
No, and I think this was highlighted in the argument with the United fan yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw, but this United fan put up a picture of Maguire and Varane together and was like, we're going to absolutely dominate the league next year, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, well, let's see them play together first, because that's an awful lot of hype for two players who've never played together before in the Premier League or together at all. Let's see them play first. And he went in on our front three and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? We beat you 4-2 in your own house with your best team that you'd rested. And we had Phillips and we had Reece Williams. So, we had two babies at centre back, and they absolutely shut you out. So, if Nat Phillips wants to go to Southampton, as Connor said, then I'd be happy for Nat. He deserves, I'd love him to stay at Liverpool, but the reality is, with the signing of Konate, Matip being back, Virgil, Gomez, he's not really going to get a look in, is he? Let's be honest. I would very much love him too, but not when you've got that calibre of defender. He's not that calibre. He was great for us when we needed him, but he's not gonna. We'd have to have touch fucking wood, touch everything. Like, we'd have to have another for him to get game time again, in my opinion. So let him go to Southampton, let him go and prove himself, and let him absolutely 2-foot Bruno Fernandes into next week and then head the ball away and be like, just ball, ref. Just ball.
Well, funny you say that. Do you know who Southampton's second game is this season?
I'm going to guess it's United.
It's United at St Mary's.
I can't wait for them to batter them. Honestly, you need to shut up. Just slightly off topic, but is anybody else seeing how insufferable they are on Twitter at the minute?
Yeah.
They are. Oh my God. And I thought Chelsea fans were bad, but they are insufferably arrogant about their team that haven't played a second of football together yet. And they suddenly think they've got the best thing. But let's not forget, you've still got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who can't tell you what day of week it is. You've got Luke Shaw, who's more interested in what time he's having his chippy afterwards. You've got Pogba, whose head's in France and his feet are in Belgium, like he's somewhere else on a different planet. You've got Martial, who doesn't know his left foot from his right foot half the time. Like, the rest of your team's shit.
Yeah.
Like, you've got two good players coming in, one of which was sold by Real Madrid, and if he was that good, why would you get rid of him?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry to go on a bit of a tangent, but they're insufferable. I can't wait for them to get battered at St Mary's.
So yeah, Stephen, I think our predictions next week will be very interesting.
Yeah.
6-0 Southampton.
Oh, I would love it. Oh God, I'm turning into blooming Kevin Keegan now. I would love it to beat them. Love it. Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to the recap of the Anfield Friendlies and who stood out and has anyone put themselves in contention for Norwich. Now, I know that Jack, Connor and Sophie were all at the Athletic Bilbao game. Who stood out in that game, Jack?
I'll mute myself there. It was a great game. I fully enjoyed the Osasuna game. Sadly, we were at the top end, and all the other goals went in the upper end to the end of the ground. No. Yeah, but it was good. Great to see the fans anyway. But Harvey Elliott really stood out for me over the two games, as the panel has already discussed. I think it will be a massive season. Jurgen's already spoken about utilising him, as everyone said already tonight, in the midfield. Taki, great to see him. Will he get the opportunity at Liverpool? I think the next couple of weeks will be very pivotal for him in terms of his future. He really impressed me, the link-up play between him and Costas down that left-hand flank anyway. Gutted to see Curtis go off with a concussion. Great to see my man Ibu. I'm very excited to see him play for Liverpool this season. His distribution, I know it was a friendly and all that, but the sheer confidence to the lad playing at home at Anfield for your first time. Many of players have really bottled it, but it's his ability to bring out, like we've seen in the Champions League for RB Leipzig and in the Bundesliga, pre him getting injured, he will offer Liverpool so much, and the ability to have him in Virgil van Dijk or whatever partnership you do have in that defence. Very positive, mate. Trent's getting back to his full fitness. I could rattle off the whole team, mate, but those players that I've mentioned, stuck in my mind, as you can tell.
And Connor, if you ever come close to a goal, how unlucky was Harvey Elliott?
I thought it was in. I screamed when it was bending in. I thought, he's going in, but no, it didn't, unfortunately. But yeah, like what Jack said, Harvey Elliott was the main standout on Sunday against Bilbao. We've all spoken about him being in that midfield 10 role, and even in the warm-ups, you could tell that he was up for the game. I think all of us, all the players, the fans, Jurgen himself, were up for it, and Harvey, I think, was up for the most out of them all because he was just unbelievable, all throughout the game. Like Jack said, Kostas as well. I think he's been probably the most impressive out of all the pre-season so far, I would say, which I think puts our mind at rest. I think, certainly with Robbo, being out for a few weeks as well. Of course, Nabilad as well, playing decent against Bilbao and having a good pre-season. And the main thing for me is that Virg is back, and we'll probably speak about it later. But in contention, Jack talked about Ibu there. He could start against Norwich as well, having a good pre-season. It's the fact that Liverpool's main 11 looks to be back for the first time in 12 months, and it's just a frightening thought because everyone, like over the weekend, has underestimated this Liverpool's team so much, and it's just, I can't wait for this side to just put everyone back in their place because that's what's going to happen. And I just can't wait. And just speaking about the two games, they were brilliant. Atmosphere was brilliant in both of the games. More so, I'd say, in the second one. But yeah, just can't wait for the season to start now, especially after those two games.
Yeah, sorry, Conor, Joe, and everyone. We won't delve into it. If you've seen everyone at home, or the predictions, it was on BBC or the pundits. The sheer anti-Liverpool was coming through my screen. They're all bitter, so bitter.
That prediction list, literally pin it to the fucking wall in the dressing room. Put it in the dressing room, frame it, and go, right, you're a knobhead, you're a knobhead, you're a knobhead, you're a knobhead. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be highlighting anyone who put us less than second. I'd be going, right, you prick. I'd be highlighting all the names. I'm coming for all of you. I'm going to come for all of you.
Beckford didn't even have us in the top 4. I just got off Twitter straight away.
Well, do you know what? I'd just going off what Jack just said then, like with the predictions, I tweeted out before and I was like, they're basing that off last season, our drop in form. But what they're negating to understand is the fact that we still came third, 5 points behind second place, with 20 plus centre-back partnerships, with midfielders in defence, which we then lost those midfielders and had to field the babies. And we still came third. And you're telling me that your little pea brain with 3 brain cells rattling around in it can't for 1 second go, hang on a minute, when this starting 11 come back, they're actually going to be clinical? Because I went back and looked at their predictions from the 2 seasons previous to that. The season we won, the season we came second. The season we came second, everyone kind of predicted us second or third. The season we won, everyone predicted us second or first. So they were pretty much right in that because they were basing that on the Liverpool squad that we know. But that squad's coming back.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that within the past 9 months, they've lost all clinical ability, all threat. No one's frightened of them anymore. All right, okay. Let's see what happens come Christmas, because last Christmas, Virgil had been out for 3 months. Gomez had been out for 2 months. We had Fabinho in defence. We had Henderson covering for Fabinho. We were 3 points cleared on the 19th of December. We were walking that league until we lost Matip and Fabinho and Henderson in like a space of 4 weeks. We were walking that league again. So don't give me that shit that we're coming third or fourth.
Yeah. I think the thing to say, Stephen, write us off at your peril.
Definitely. Like Sophie's touched upon, obviously all our players, touch wood, are going to stay fit this season, and I don't see any reason why we can't win the league as long as everyone stays fit. I think the worry for me is obviously how is Virgil going to cope? How's Joe Gomez going to cope? And obviously Matip. It's going to be interesting. As long as, like everyone said, as long as everyone stays fit, then we've got a great chance of finishing in as champions, to be honest. And I don't see any reason why not, as long as we all stay fit.
Yeah. Excuse me. Steve, Oxlade-Chamberlain, I thought he was very good against Osasuna. Do you think he's played himself into contention for a start at Norwich?
Absolutely. Well, maybe not for a start at Norwich, but he certainly played himself into contention to get more minutes this season. This is the first season he's had a full pre-season unhindered by injury whilst Klopp's been at the club. I think he's benefited massively from that. He looked sharp. He was beating people for fun. He done a little sidestep and went to the byline in the second game, and I thought that really showed where his confidence is at. But prior to his injury, he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. So I've got a little bit of a theory about Oxlade-Chamberlain. He suffered from the shape we had to play when we lost all of these players to injury, because we dropped off, we played deeper, so the space between the midfield and the forward line was extended by that shape that we had. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain benefits from playing in tighter spaces where over 5 yards he can drive at people and ask questions of defenders. I think when you give him a ball and he's got 30 yards to run into, very different proposition. I think the fact that we're going to trust our centre-backs to come back, we're going to push up to the halfway line again, and we're going to press and counter-press to get the ball back. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain will benefit from that. And just a quick point on the centre-backs. Both centre-backs have been quite robust in the pre-season friendlies, particularly Gomez in the second game, where he's put himself into physical challenges. Yeah. That's really good, because both of those injuries, the psychological effect these days is worse than the physical effect, because modern science being what it is, we can give a man somebody else's heart, so we can fix somebody's ligaments in their knee. It's the psychological side of it, how you compete. Will it go again? Do I go in for that challenge? As a serious knee injury sufferer when I played football, your body's funny, because the first time you make a challenge, you'll get a very similar pain in your leg. Your body will remember to how when you did the injury, and then you've got to talk yourself through that and recognise that there's no problem. So I don't see this, and I know it's been mentioned in here, I don't see this, let's see how Virgil turns out. Virgil doesn't rely on the pace he's got, because he's a very high intelligence footballer, and he wins the ball through his football brain first and foremost. Yes, he's got the acceleration if he needs it, but he very often wins the ball through reading the game, through positional play as opposed to physicality. So, listen, let them sleep on us. Let them sleep on us. They can do it all they want. Never ever underestimate Liverpool. That squad's got something to prove to themselves, and that makes us very dangerous.
Absolutely. Apparently, Virgil van Dijk doesn't exist on Twitter, because I saw something saying today that apparently Laporte is one of the best centre backs playing spray balls across to like the wingers and the right back and left back. I'm like, Virgil van Dijk exists? No. But anyway, I'm not gonna get delved into this rival nonsense anyway. Let's move on to what is all that matters. Saturday tea time, we have Norwich City. Now, Sophie, we've obviously spoke about how everyone is writing off Liverpool for the league. Everyone I've noticed has either had Norwich 20th, 19th, or 18th. They do not expect Norwich to stay up. Do you think that will like build them on to maybe just prove everyone wrong?
Well, I think if you look at our game against Norwich was it last season or the season before? I can't even remember, the 9-goal thriller. I can't even remember which season it was now. Nobody.
What wasn't that like 2015?
Yeah, Klopp's first season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, nobody expected that outcome with Norwich. No one expected them to bring the game to us the way they did. And I think you'd be very stupid if you sat there and said, with all confidence, that Liverpool are going to go into this game and absolutely batter Norwich. We've played Norwich before. We know they got relegated and they've come back up, but they gave us a good game. They made things a little bit difficult. They have got very intelligent footballers in there. Maybe not the quickest, maybe not the most clinical, which is their downfall, but they have got intelligent players on the pitch. So I think they are going to give us a game. I did put Norwich down in relegation myself. Anyway, I think I put 19th or 18th, something like that. I don't think it'll be a clean sheet. I think it'll be a rusty game. I think it'll be a little bit of a dicey game. But I think you'd be quite stupid if you sat there and wrote Norwich off already and said it was going to be an easy. It's not going to be an easy game. Yeah, everyone's eyes are going to be on us. It's pressure.
Yeah. We'll definitely be expected to win the game, Connor. But Milot Rashica is one player that has caught my eye. Quite an interesting signing, actually, from Werder Bremen. I thought he was one of the standouts when Werder Bremen actually got relegated last season. Do you think he'll improve Norwich's side, considering that Buendia is now left?
I think so, in terms of quality, because I think he's been linked with so many Premier League teams over the last 3-4 seasons, then those never quite paid off. I think the biggest problem, with everyone predicting that Norwich is going to go down is the fact of they haven't, on the face of it, they haven't developed that squad up from the Championship, got rid of Buendia and, replaced it with just one or two signings. I think that's what everyone is thinking of. I agree with Sophie in the sense that it's going to be a tough game. It's the first competitive game back for Norwich fans. We, saw in the friendlies at Anfield how excited we was for that. Norwich fans are going to be in that same boat as of every single Premier League fan at the beginning of this season, and it's going to be a tough place to go. It's going to be a tough game. That's the beauty of the Premier League, that every single team can beat the other team. Yes, a team can fly away with the league, but it's not like a La Liga, a Bundesliga, or things like that. It's the most competitive league in world football, and that just shows what the best footballers can do in the league. Do I think Liverpool are going to win the league? Win the game? Yes, I do. I think Liverpool are going to win 2-0. But I do think it is going to be very edgy at times, because as we've seen the game at Anfield, 2 years ago, okay, yes, we won 4-0, but Norwich had chances. They had very, very good chances. And in the opposite game as well, I think we only won 1-0 with Sadio Mane scoring. Yeah, I think even that was a tighter game. So they will give us a game. I'm looking for a really hard-fought game, but I do think Liverpool will just maybe score one early on and then maybe get one a bit late. Then a bit like the Palace game that we had at the end of the season. Yeah,
and Jack, you have to admire Norwich's sort of loyalty to Daniel Farke. Could have easily got rid of him. When he was relegated with Norwich. Managed to bring them straight back up. You have to applaud Norwich City for that.
Yeah, it takes a lot from club executives, owners. Really, we've seen with Sheffield United get rid of their manager last season. Stupid decision. In terms of, I felt they could have come back if they kept all of their squad as well. It's going to be interesting how Farke does approach this Premier League campaign, given obviously 2 years ago when you were in the league, they played the attacking brand of football. First game at Anfield, they give it a go, got in between the Liverpool's lines a couple of times before we slotted a couple of goals past him, got the own goal as well. So, yeah, it's going to be intriguing. I think no easy game in the Premier League. You don't want to be too overconfident, but I think if we do what we do best and really drive at them, drag them out wide as well. And one player did like the signing. I know I hate Chelsea, despise Chelsea, but in terms of a player is Billy Gilmour. He impressed when he played us in the cup anyway. I think he'll be a very good asset to this Norwich City side. He's a very young player. And I think if he is playing against Liverpool, he's something a player that Liverpool do need to get Fabinho and stop the pressing and everything, and stopping their counter attacks or plays through him. Todd Cantwell as well. He's another creative player. I think it was Leicester or Villa. We're looking at him. If they can keep hold of him, I think they will. But Timo Pukki, he's a weird player. He gets goals. It'd be interesting to see how he does fare this season in the Premier League. Last time he was in the Premier League, I think he got Player of the Month, or he very much hit the Premier League on fire. I think he scored like 5 or 6 goals within the first month. So, yeah, I'm excited, mate. It's great. I'm hoping it's a team that, not like Burnley, they're not going to sit behind the ball necessarily.
No.
Burnley.
Yeah, yeah. But I think Norwich will give it a go, and it's probably the perfect, fingers crossed, perfect game for Liverpool to play.
Yeah, Stephen, I think the one thing we can say with Norwich is that, yes, they're a very, very good team, but like last season in the Championship, I was reading this earlier, I think they had about 48% of their clean sheets at home. It's basically, Farke likes to play one way, and it is attacking. Do you think he's going to have to adapt his tactics in the Premier League to potentially try and stay up?
I think he would have to, but I don't see him doing it. I see him just playing the way that's obviously got him promoted back up to obviously the Premier League. Like you touched upon with Sheffield United, I think it was a disgraceful decision to get rid of Chris Wilder. Because I agree with Jack, I think he would have taken them back up, but I don't see Farke changing his style of play. He's a bit like Bielsa in a way. He's only got one way, and that's playing forward, trying to attack. And I think, in all fairness, that plays into our hands because, like you say, they're not a team that's going to sit back like a Burnley or a Palace or something like on the likes of that. So I do see us winning. And I agree with everyone else on the panel. Like it is going to be a difficult game, and they will make it a difficult game, especially with it being their first game back in the Premier League, home crowd. So they're going to be up for it. The pressure, in all fairness, is all on us. They've got nothing to lose, really. It's like a free hit for them. So I do see us winning, but like everyone said, I don't see it being an easy game because, like everyone said, there's no easy games in the Premier League.
Yeah, Steve, how do you think we'll approach this game?
It's similar, isn't it, to the Leeds game last season, where it's a welcome back to the Premier League party, really, for Norwich.
Yeah,
like Stephen says, it's almost a free hit. They're not expected to get anything out of the game. They certainly won't get relegated off the back of the first game of the season. The fans will be in a party mood. The players will come out, may well respond to the emotion in the ground. I think this Liverpool team's dying to stretch its legs because we've had a terrible season last year. There's a lot of frustration in the side. There's a lot of points to prove individually and collectively. I could see Liverpool winning this quite comfortably because we don't know how press resistant Norwich are because we haven't seen them for a year. We don't know what the defence is like. Yes, they've got a bit of ability, and in the 2 signings they've made, they've got a bit of pace. So watch the ball over the top because of that. We will play with a high back line again, and Sargent and Oshika, they're very quick, aren't they? So I think that's something to watch. But I kind of hope that Norwich get carried away on the occasion. But what it does make them is it makes them dangerous because they're going to want to entertain their fans. They've got this bit between the teeth now. They're back in the Premier League where they think they belong. They've got nothing to lose, as Stephen quite rightly said. If they don't win, well, world football didn't expect them to win. I think it'll be quite an open game. I really do. I don't think they can play any other way. They're not. You look at the squad, when you think about their squad, Max Aarons is still there. He's not a robust guy. He's an overlapper. He's a guy who's going to try and get down the wings and create stuff. So it will be interesting. Mm-hmm. So I think Liverpool will go into the game. I think he'll go with quite a rigid midfield, certainly to take control of the game early on. Yeah. And then maybe as the game opens up, we might see, if we're in front and they're pushing out to try and get something out of it, we might see an opportunity for someone like Harvey Elliott to come on and try and use his creativity in the final third, because he will play a bigger part this season. He's got ability, undoubtedly so, but it's an interesting one for me. I think Norwich will surprise us and come out and have a game of football because they're not going to, it won't affect their season. It's a welcome to the Premier League party, isn't it, as I said earlier?
And as we all say, it's not games against Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester. It's all about the games against your Watfords, Brentfords. That will determine if they stay up. So
and your Everton Stoke as well. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Funny you had to mention that as well. Just some wee stats, obviously. So Norwich City have won 14. There have been 15 draws, and Liverpool have won 37 in the Premier League. In fact, Norwich City's last victory against Liverpool. Anyone any ideas?
2011.
Game in front of the Kop, Jeremy Goss, perhaps.
Yeah. 1st of May 1994.
God.
Jeremy
I
Goss.
wasn't even born.
I was -1.
I was 1.5.
I wasn't even born.
I think I was like minus. I think I was like -4.
I was in the ground.
What did you say? May.
May.
Oh my God, that was 11 months. That was 9 months, 10 months from me being born yet. Can't do maths. Fucking hell, I'm a teacher. Yeah, 10 months from me being born.
It was the last game that the Kop was without seats.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. There you go. There you go, indeed. Right. We will go into starting 11s. Now, I do have some team news that I did pick up earlier. Norwich have been, well, I think it's safe to say, battered by injuries and the dreaded CV19. So Todd Cantwell is injured. He injured his ankle, so he looks doubtful as well. There has been a big COVID-19 outbreak in the squad. Grant Hanley, Onel Hernandez, Jordan Hugill, Bali Mumba and Milot Rashica were all missing from the Newcastle friendly. Timu Pukki is back in training, but is likely to start the Liverpool game. As far as we are concerned, Ari Robertson is obviously out. Curtis Jones is out too. Canati in line to make debut, but Van Dijk and Gomez are both in contention. Henderson likely to be back on the bench as well. So with that being said, Connor, what is your starting 11 for Saturday?
Why did I have to go first? I think the back. I say the back four is quite obvious. I think Ali is obviously the obvious one. Trent and Tsimikas, I think, is obvious. And then it's the centre-backs. Who's going to be the centre-back pairing? I personally think Matip's are guaranteed. Being the fittest centre-back throughout pre-season, Canate as well. And then I think it'd be Virgil van Dijk. I think he will put Virg there. I think that if it isn't going to be Virgil, it will be Canate, but I could honestly see Canate and Joe Gomez on the bench for this game, weirdly enough. But I got to go Virg, and then I'm going to go Fabinho, Naby Keita, and James Milner, and then Mo, Sadio, and Jota.
Ooh. Jack, any different to Connor's team?
Yeah, I've just wrote it down there. Go with Ali and Trent right back. Ibu and Van Dijk. I don't think it will be that, but me personally, I'd like to see that. I think a 50% Van Dijk is probably better than most defenders in the Premier League, and depending how up to date in terms of his fitness he is. Kostas left back. Go with Fabinho as the holding, and then Jimmy Milner. I think we do need that bit of experience. And the quality as well in which he'll offer. And I've thrown Elliott in. It would be a massive shout by Jurgen Klopp, but given the extensive use of him in the pre-season and the performance levels of Harvey Elliott in the pre-season, but he's got quality. I'd love nothing more for the lads, but it's whether Klopp goes and risks. But for me, if I was picking a team, I'd go with Elliott. And I will go with Salah on the right, Mane, and then Bobby up front. Really, I can't wait. I think Bobby he's very much raring to go. But yeah,
Stephen.
Well, first of all, it's a nice headache to have players fit. First of all, because I mean, the team pretty much picked itself last season. So, obviously Ali in goal, Trent and Tsimikas right and left back. I do think Matip's a sure. Definitely going to be starting alongside Van Dijk. Fabinho is a sure, definitely in the CDM. Naby Keita and I think Milner, and then it'll be the usual Mo, Sadio, and the likes of either I think he'll play Jota over Firmino. That's who I'd go for anyway.
Sophie?
Trent. Tsimikas. I want to say he'll start Virgil. I don't think he will.
I'm along the same lines as you.
Because of what he said in his interview, where Gomez and Virgil will be in contention for the squad, but they've not played a full 90 minutes. The most Virgil has played is 60. I don't know how many minutes Gomez has played. I imagine it's probably very similar to what Virgil has played. To go from 60 minutes to 90 minutes is a very big jump. And they've worked so hard to get these two boys back. Do you want to risk throwing them in for an extra 30 minutes? And as Klopp said, in a game, you do not want to change your centre-backs. You do not want to change your defence unless you physically got to.
Yeah.
And I just don't think, as much as I want Virgil to be back at the first game, I don't think that they are match fit for 90 minutes yet. I think they need another week or two. So for that reason, I would say probably Ibu and Mata in the back for me, alongside obviously Costas and and Trent. Midfield, I go for Milner, Keita, and Thiago. And then for 3, I would probably go for Mane, Salah. I don't know. I keep umming and ahhing between Bobby and. I think he'll give Bobby a run out. I want to say Jota, but I think he's going to give Bobby a run out. And
finally, you, Steve, what's your team?
Hang on a second, my light's gone out. I would go with Ali in goal, Trent and Tsimikas. I think it'll be Ibu and Matip. I don't think he'll play. The two lads have been injured. Midfield, I'd like to see Thiago, Fabinho and Keita with a double pivot almost, with Thiago playing slightly deeper than Keita, with Fabinho sitting. And I think he'll play Bobby in the middle up top, to be honest with you, mate. I think he showed enough in the last game. He looked bright, looked sharp, scored a couple of goals. You're not sending a guy the right message if you drop him for the first league game when he put in a performance like that. That's the best he's looked for 18 months, to be fair, as well, if you're looking at
100%. Yeah. He has indeed. Give me a minute. I've lost my wee notes here. Right, I've gone Ali, Trent, Matip, Konate, Tsimikas, Fabinho, Keita, Milner, Salah, Firmino, Mane. Then on the bench, I've got Kelleher, Van Dijk, Gomez, Ox, Thiago if fit, Henderson, Jota, Elliott, and Minamino, because I don't think Origi will be even involved. I honestly don't see him being involved. But as Stephen said, it's a nice headache for Klopp to have, and at least we're not the manager. But if we're being honest, like, I like the fact that he can actually nurture the squad, and as we've all said here, he does now have a chance. I actually think we've all got, the whole squad has got a point to prove. Just to say that we're not lying down. We're going to come back fighting, and as long as we can challenge this season, I will be happy. Would everyone say that we'd be happy for a title challenge?
Disappointed if we don't.
I would say so.
Yeah, Doug, it's Liverpool Football Club, mate. Even when we had previous other managers before Jurgen Klopp, mate. The expectation of Liverpool Football Club. We're a massive institution, and we should be challenging for the league title every single season. I know that's being greedy, but it's part of being a big club. Some certain, and we haven't touched about Rafa, but made up easy. Then I take the Everton down. I just can't wait for the Everton fans to drop in.
I think, Doug, looking at it, when we lost the players we lost, our system is one of the most effective systems in Welsh football, but as proven last year, also one of the most fragile in terms of if you lose one of the key players, it kind of doesn't work, and we lost more than one key player. So if you're in that club and you're looking at the game tomorrow and you travel to Norwich, and you're looking around in the changing rooms and training and everybody's fit, you're thinking, right, the defence is going to do its job. The midfield is going to do its job. The front line will be in touch with the midfield for the first time in 12 months. Bring it on, let's do it. That's why I want them to stretch their legs. I want them to go and make a statement. And I think, they will be hungry. So let's get over the sort of negativity that was around the injuries and negativity that was around the fixture pile-up around Christmas time. This is a fresh start. This is not you don't become a bad team overnight. We all know this.
No.
I think there's an expectation in themselves to challenge, and that's what we need to see, and that's what we need to be able to identify with on the pitch, that they believe they'll challenge. It's all very well us six saying we're Liverpool and we should be challenging, but it's got to be in the hearts and minds of the players, and I genuinely believe it will be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just going off on that. Sorry, Jack. Anyone else think that Trent is coming in like a bull in a china shop this season? Because let's be honest, that kid was fuming when he got dropped from Southgate's England squad.
Yeah.
He was fuming. And from what he's been posting on social media, he looks absolutely up for it for this year. He looks like he's going to kill somebody on the pitch. I mean, I'm here for it. If he wants to 2-foot someone into next week, Pickford, then I'm all right.
He's beefed up, Annie. It's good to see.
He's proper like. I noticed that on Sunday. Did you two notice that?
Yeah.
On Sunday, he walked past because we were in the car. We were right behind the goal, and he walked past take a corner, and I went, "Fucking hell, he's got big." Like he proper has bulks up. And I was like, "You're not the little streaky thing kids anymore."
That's what happens when you have Salah in your changing room. Salah just must be doing about 1,000 pull-ups in every single training session, or climbing that like 10-foot apparatus in Kirby. I can't believe these had him climb up that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was.
Has Taki Minamino beefed up a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought from watching the game against Osasuna, I thought it looked like he had beefed himself, but I actually think he's had a pretty good pre-season as well. I hope he gets more chances. As my man down to my left has actually said the following, that he thinks he could be the new Yossi Benayoun.
Yeah, I think he could. Physical, I think he's got better physicality than what Yossi Benayoun had, but in that 2008, 2009 team, Yossi Benayoun was so underrated for Liverpool, and Taki could be the same. And like what the others have said, it's the return of the mentality monsters. That is what Liverpool are trying to get back under. And if we have all these options and the rotation options, if everyone's on the same wavelength in going for the title, it will happen. And it's that sense of please underestimate us, because we will go for the title and hopefully win it as well. But yeah, Taki's the next Yossi Benayoun, and he can just he can just score like about 15 goals this season. I'll be happy.
As long as Taki doesn't go to Chelsea, I'll be fuming.
Yeah, we'll be fuming about
that. No, just a quick one though as well. It's important. Everyone's already alluded to it's the mind shift. Obviously, winning the league was so massive. I think the big hoodoo for 30 years was could Liverpool win the title, and that's we won the Champions League. That was a massive part, getting over the line, and it's the psychological aspect, as everyone spoke about tonight. Yes, we're a big institution, but the psychological mind shift in all these players, and it's about, yes, you can be arrogant, but we have got a very good squad, very very capable of challenging on all fronts, and I'm very positive. Yeah, very, very positive.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I don't know if everyone remember. Well, this will be a wee history lesson. So, opening day record for the Reds. So, we have won 17, we have drawn 8, and we have lost 4 of our opening day fixtures. We have scored 53 goals and against 32. Can anyone remember the last game we actually lost on the opening day?
West Brom away, 3-0.
Yeah, West Brom.
That was an absolute disastrous, disastrous game.
Screamer from it was one of the players. Oh yeah,
Zoltan Gira.
Yeah.
But relatively, we've had a very very good good record as well. I was actually looking at some of the fixtures as well, and the one that stands out to me, Jack, the 1-1 with Arsenal, Joe Cole on debut, red card in about the 10th minute. I was at that game. I was fuming.
Yeah, we were speaking about that a couple of days ago, weren't we, mate? The classic Joe Cole wanted to impress and started. So, Joe Cole.
Don't forget, Joe Cole can do everything that Lionel Messi can do, mate. Don't forget that statement, will you?
Him on BT.
What was he on? What was he on? Gerard was on something then when he said that, wasn't he?
Oh dear, yeah, that was funny, but no, we've had a relatively good opening day fixture as well. So hopefully Saturday will be the same. But we at least Stephen, we hope it's not like the Leeds United game last season, because that was end to end. I couldn't take any more. I think I had no fingernails at the end of that game.
Yeah, exactly. I'd take a boring 1-0 win now, but yeah, clean sheet would be nice to start off with, definitely. But yeah, hopefully nothing like the Leeds United game in any way, shape, or form. Hopefully just a nice, relaxing game, get us into the season, and then tie us up ready for Burnley next week.
Oh God! Oh.
Yeah.
You know that quote from the In-Betweeners. People have asked me if I like Burnley. People ask me if I like football, but not Burnley. Burnley can.
I tell you now, I will tweet that at the end of the game, like I do every time we play Burnley, regardless of the result. That tweet comes out. Burnley weekend.
Yeah, and in fact, we did play Norwich City in the title-winning season. We won 4-1. Pookie scored that day, believe it or not. So I'm pretty hoping that he is not going to score this time around. Other interesting stats from the opening day: we've had 56 yellow cards and 2 red cards as well. And obviously, I think you could probably guess the red cards, because obviously I gave you away one. But who was the other one?
Well, now you're asking.
Nope. Daniel Agger.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
I know. It's like you don't really remember these, but yeah, that was.
I miss Danny.
Yeah.
If he wasn't injured, what a player that he could have been if he just wasn't injured.
I know. It's just a really, really unfortunate thing that how it ended for him with obviously Rodgers, etc. And yes, actually, the West Brom game is actually Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge as well, if everyone remembers that as well. So, but we've obviously got El Clopo now as well. So before we end, I'm going to ask you this question: predictions for the game. I will come to Sophie first. What's your prediction?
I'm going with a 2-1 win.
2-1.
Look at that. I haven't even said I don't make predictions. They always go tits up. I actually just got on with it this time. No, I'm going with a 2-1 win. Like I said, don't think it's going to be an easy game. Think if we're not playing Virgil and Gomez, we're playing Matip and Canate, new partnership we've never played, probably will let one in. But I think we will retaliate quite quickly and we will win 2-1.
Interesting. Stephen?
I've already done these for this week, and I think I said 2-0 to Liverpool, obviously, so I'll stick with that.
Jack?
Yeah, going positive, mate. I go 4-0. I think, it's solid. Positive energy. I think Mane will get a goal. I go Salah. Hopefully he bangs in an hat-trick because we've got captain on fantasy football. So, yeah, go 4-0. Positivity. I think they'll be shocked, Norwich, as we've already alluded to. I think the Premier League will be a big shock to the system. I know they have been in the Premier League previous years, but I think we're going to be all guns blazing this year.
Stay?
3-0. I was going to say 4-1, but I don't think Norwich score, if I'm honest with you. I think if you go with Matip, who will probably be desperate to play, and you put Ibra in there, who will be desperate to impress, and Simicast looks like a more than an able deputy for Robbo. I don't think Norwich score, to be honest with you, mate. I think the occasion will get to them, and that's the thing with football. If you can deal with the tactics, not the occasion, you've got half a chance. I just don't think they'll get over that.
And Connor?
I'm going to go 2-0. I'm not like Makendo and thinks 9-0 against the Ev. Just putting that out there. I think it will be a safe 2-0 as well. I think Liverpool will threaten. It'll be a tough game, but I think Liverpool will threaten quite a lot. But I think comfortable 2-0 for the Reds.
And believe it or not, my prediction is 2-0 as well. I've got Salah to score, and I've also got Jota to come off the bench and hopefully get the second. But as we all say, it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Hopefully not as physical as the 2 Spanish friendlies. Honestly, I keep saying this, Sophie. Spanish clubs do not know the term friendly.
No, they don't. They don't know friendly. It's like me. I don't know the term friendly. I think I'm being nice, but I'm not. So clearly, I'm Spanish. Nah, they're brutal, aren't they? Like they were like that on Sunday as well. Not Sunday, on Monday. Sorry, they were just fucking brutal. They just challenges they make, and you just think, why? There's no need for that.
No. I mean, I'm gutted that Curtis Jones is out because I think he would have been a potential star. Would you agree, Connor?
I think he would have been involved. I think he would have been on the bench. I think probably, judging off the last 2 games, I think I would probably say Naby and Ox might be above him in terms of performance. But I think Curtis Jones, he's going to definitely be involved in the season. He'll definitely get game time. He'll get time to prove himself this season, and it's going to be a big season for him as well because he has to take that next step up in his development, doesn't he? So there'll be plenty of time for Curtis Jones this season.
And Stephen, obviously Robertson is only out for a couple of weeks. I think we've been very, very lucky with that injury, if I'm being honest. Because when you saw him actually go off against Athletic Bilbao, it didn't look good. Like those, I don't even want to see the screen. I think people were actually showing it, and I'm like, oh no, please don't show me. But at least it's only like 2 to 3 weeks. Do you think we'll see Robertson before the international break?
Yeah.
I do think so, because I mean, when you look back on it, I remember when Alberto Moreno got his nasty injury, and then Robbo came on, and then obviously he's been a starter ever since. So it might give Tsimikas that little boost that he needs, but I don't. Tsimikas is obviously short term. Robbo's when he gets fit again, and when he's available, Robbo will be back playing left back. So. But no, Tsimikas is definitely, from what I've seen in pre-season, he's really impressed, and I think we're in safe hands until obviously Robbo comes back in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we'll expect this season, Jack, is that we'll probably expect Tsimikas possibly to give Robbo a rest, because let's be honest, I mean, Robbo is obviously injured at the moment, but he was playing week in, week out, and we didn't really have that cover at left back.
Yeah, he's been playing consistently for the last 4 years or whatever, so since we've had him anyway. Obviously, he had that stint, Jurgen Klopp eased him in his Liverpool career, mate. But yeah, it was sad and it was shocking. You only have to look at spoke about the Spanish side, the intensity. Yes, you'd say in pre-season you want that bit of intensity, but it was Fofana, that was shocking challenge anyway. Larouci as well, a couple of seasons back. But it happens. Football's a contact sport, and it happens. So, but I've got all faith in Costas, as the panel has already alluded to tonight, and very confident, and especially Liverpool going forward down our flanks. So important the way in which we play football. I think he's a very much, and it wouldn't surprise me if Jurgen Klopp has pulled off another gem of a signing for not too much amount of money anyway, and he's our Greek scout, isn't he? So all the best to him. I'm excited.
Yeah, and Steve, I think it's safe to say that Costas has got a new good friend in Mohamed Salah, because we obviously saw the pictures from Austria, and it did look like that Salah's got a new friend, because obviously a new bromance, I should say.
Well, obviously Lovren's gone, so he needs to find someone else to have a romance with, doesn't he? Listen, at the end of the day, Tsimikas had a difficult first season with the injury, with COVID, a number of different things. must have felt like we would have listened to the initial inquiry from Napoli because as far as first seasons goes, that was a tough one. Yeah. It's good to see that he's dug in and worked hard and is getting his rewards for it. If we don't see Robbo ahead of the international break and he doesn't go away with the international break, that might benefit him further. I think this guy's good enough to cover in that position. We don't want to be winning and losing games from left back. We need to be thinking winning games from further forward. Let's give him a lot less to do by doing what we do well, which is pressing and counter-pressing and winning the ball back high rather than it coming down his throat. And let's get him overlapping and putting balls in like he did at the weekend for Bobby's goal, which was Andy Robertson-esque, wasn't it? Really, that delivery was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think we're gonna have a good season this season, and especially with Shimicast to come in for Andy Robertson. But guys, that is it for another episode of the Friday LFC Focus Podcast. Obviously, this one has been pre-recorded because obviously I am working. But I hope everyone has enjoyed this podcast as well. A huge thanks to my panel as usual, Jack Mack LFC. Thank you very much. You got anything coming up on your channel?
Might do a live stream tonight. Well, yesterday I would have done a live stream. But thank you very much for having me on, Doug. It's lovely to meet everyone. A couple of new faces as well, but a pleasure to speak to everyone. And hopefully everyone is keeping safe and well. And let's bring on Norwich, mate.
Absolutely, Stephen. Thank you very, very much for coming on, and we'll get you back on very, very shortly. Just plug your channel.
Yeah. So as you can see, who's that behind the stat? I've got predictions coming up. I've got you coming on, Doug, as always, and we've got a little bit of a competition going with. We'll review, obviously the predictions from the first Premier League next week. So that's what we've got coming up, and I'll probably do a preview the Burnley game on the possibly Thursday as well. So yeah, I've got a few good things coming up. But yeah, thanks for having us on. It's been good.
Absolute pleasure. Connor, thank you very much as well. What have you got coming up on your channel soon?
So I've got a Norwich preview today as people are watching it. It's so confusing. And then next week, if of course no signings do happen, I do have a Liverpool potential transfers, taking a look at a guy that we've spoken about tonight, Jeremy Doku. So yeah.
Very interesting. Sophie, thank you very much for coming back on as well. I bet you were glad to get back at Anfield last weekend, weren't you?
Felt great. I'm not going to lie. One, it was nice to be back, but it was even better going back with my dad. I haven't been to Anfield with my dad for a long, long time. So going back for the first time in 18 months with him was kind of special. So it was nice. It was lovely.
Absolutely. Steve, thank you very, very much for coming on as well. I'll obviously see you on Monday on the First 11. Just tell us a little bit about the First 11.
So I'm currently doing 2 shows a week, and I'm also open for other collaborations because I don't have my own channel at the moment. So if anyone's watching and they want someone to come and waffle, I'm your man. Give me a shout and I'll be on there. But the First 11 is on a Monday night at 10 o'clock. I have yourself and Rack Singers sort of co-hosts. And we bring in 1, maybe 2 guests. We had Dave's LFC chats on last Monday. If you've not seen the clip of that, it's absolutely hilarious. And you don't need 2 guests when you've got Dave on, because he's like 2 people rolled into one, isn't he? So that was absolutely superb. And then on Friday nights, I do a top 6 show called Friday Rivals on Usman Talks United. It's not a Man United show. It's a top 6 show. And the panel's really, really strong for that. So if you've got a bit of free time, have a look at that. But as I say, I'm a bit of a loose end at the moment, not having a channel. So if anyone wants a lift or a guest or anything, just give me a shout and I'll be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely indeed. Yeah, no, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And obviously, Dan will be back next week. But I, unfortunately, will not be back. Because I am away next weekend. So I have given the show in the safe hands of Mr. Niblet. Thank you very much for agreeing to take the show over. So yeah,
it's
I'm
my
sure.
show.
I'm sure it is your show. It is your show. But for one,
I'm not here. I'm not here.
Wow.
But actually,
Wow.
as we are as we are obviously on Thursday, it is 2 weeks. And I mean, 2 weeks today, the Champions League group stage draw. So everyone will be getting excited for that, no doubt. But thank you very much for watching this episode. If you obviously have liked this video, then please like the video, subscribe if you are new, and turn bell notifications on for every upload that comes onto this channel. But the panel will be back. I will not be back. I will be back the following week. Best of luck to Connor. I'm sure he'll have a good time of it, and I will definitely tune in when I am on my way down south as well. But until then, it's goodbye from all of us. You'll never walk alone, and hopefully the Reds start off with a win. See you later. Bye-bye.